Outward is a great immersive RPG. I want to start out with that. So it's not an easy RPG, but it's not so hard that you're going to feel like you're wasting your time. When you first start out the game, you're going to be in debt, and that will be your first goal, is to get out of debt to continue so you don't lose your lighthouse. Now, you can actually lose your lighthouse, and I guess the story goes on somehow. I don't know, because I refused to lose a lighthouse, so I got my debt taken care of. There's multiple ways you can do this, whether it be paying back the money or doing a great deed for the tribe. That's up to you to decide, and I think that that is going to be the cool key factor of Outward's questing, is optional things and ways to do the job at hand. I'm still very early in the game, so I don't want to give you the wrong impression. I am only maybe 6 to 8 hours in, so I am not giving a full review. What I am going to tell you is the spirit and how Outward plays, and maybe with that information, you can make a decision on whether you want to buy Outward or not. And I think the best way for me to kind of give you that impression is to tell you a couple of things that have happened to me on my adventure. So, I decided to go into some caves after I paid off my debt and felt like I had a little bit of free time, because that quest is timed, so you kind of feel a little crunch to get it done. Once I finished it, I pretty sure I'm not screwing anything up and that I'm allowed a little bit of time. So I started doing, there was 2 dungeons I found while I was out and about, one in the main city and one not too far from the original city that you start at. So I went out and started exploring those, video footage included. Had a lot of fun, had a couple of deaths. So when I was out in the world, one of the deaths, I got killed by this boar type creature, and he dragged me after well, you don't really die, I passed out. I went unconscious, and this boar creature dragged me back to his cavern, and that's where I woke at, with missing a bunch of my stuff. I had a little bit of gear. I scrambled around in his den, fought my way out. It was crazy. It was a good little adventure, but I did lose a lot of my stuff. Another time I died, and I actually had all my stuff on me, and I was very thankful. It's kind of like a big whoo-hoo. My whole backpack and all of its belongings were still on me. So it depends on the situation. Now, a bandit, I got in a situation with some bandits and got kind of overrun by a few of them, and now they took my stuff. Straight up, they took my belongings, and I was in their camp, and I had to get out, and that was ridiculously hard. So, different encounters with different beasts are totally different things, and depending on where you die, how you die, all these kind of things can really depend on where you awaken at. Are you close to town? Did somebody find you? Did you get dragged back to a den because you were killed by a monster with a den nearby? Did bandits get you? Then they're going to kidnap you and steal your stuff, etc., etc. There are also other dangers in the world besides monsters, diseases. Already, only barely into the game, I caught a disease. I tried to drink some tea, because that's what a guard had said was a way to get rid of the disease, or I think he meant a cold, which you can get in this game from, not protecting yourself out in the environment. But I don't know what disease I had. I think I got it from one of those weird chocobo bird things, but I'm not even sure that that's how I got it. But in any case, I tried to cure it with tea, which sounds ridiculous. It didn't work, obviously. Tea is not a medicinal type fluid, guys. But anyway, that's what I tried, because that's what the guard told me to do, and I ended up dying anyway. And that was funny, because that was my first playthrough, and I died, and when I did, I woke up because I died in town. I was actually going to go pay my blood fee, my debt back, and I died, and I ended up waking up in my own room. Somebody had brought me there, and it tells you the story of how you got there, by the way, while it's loading, and days had passed, I had to be kind of nursed back to the living world, and during that time, I missed my deadline, and therefore, they were selling my house to pay the debt. So it's pretty cool, guys, and the adventures just go on and on, man. It was so much fun. Now, I went deeper into the dungeon out in the world. Things called, I don't know, BB for short. It's not too far out on the left when you leave. I have video footage of it included, but I had a really good adventure there where I actually did die, and I was barely, man, I was so close to winning that fight, but I ended up being taken captive by those creatures in there. And what was cool is I fought my way out, and on my way out I found something that I was looking for to open a door. But because the game's so challenging, because death is so, it can really hinder your progress so much, that I was like, screw it, I know I got the key to that door, but I'm going back to town. I'm getting me some bandages, some more food. I'm gonna, refresh my drink. I'm going to get some sleep, etc., etc., because you get bonuses from sleeping, from being well rested, from eating, from drinking, and you get negative effects if you go too long without eating, drinking, or sleeping. So the game is very immersive, guys. I was completely absorbed in this game. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to rush through this early review so I can get back to playing. It's very cool, guys. If you, so far, early game, where I'm at right now in the first zone of the game, just beat the first little quest and did one side quest. Here's what I can say about the game. If you want a good single-player immersive game, and yes, you can play multiplayer. I haven't done that, so I'm only judging on single-player aspects so far. But if you want a really immersive, like dive in deep, difficult, but the right kind of difficult, as in, yes, it's very hard, it's very challenging, and you have to think, and you have to pay attention, and you can't just dive in and try to kill every monster. You have to sneak by some, etc. But it's fair. It is a very fair system. Every time I died, I realized it was my fault, that I was not being patient enough, not being careful enough. I took on too many mobs. I should have ran, or I should have blocked for longer, or I should have paid more attention to their patterns. It's, in that sense, it is like Dark Souls. That's about it, though. It's just that you gotta pay attention. It's not quite that difficulty level at all, at least not in this early game so far. Nowhere near the early game difficulty of Dark Souls. So I just want to throw this quick review out there, guys. If you've been on the fence about purchasing Outward and you like single player RPGs and you think a little touch of survival mechanics on top of that sounds like fun to you, and you want something really immersive, this is the game for you. It is every bit of that. And all of the really cool new systems for when you die or get knocked unconscious, and the world, and the graphics look good. You know, they're not the best graphics you've ever seen, just made by a small team, a small development team, so obviously you've probably seen better graphics, I would assume, but I've got it cranked up and it looks pretty dang good. It does its job, let me put it that way. The graphics are good enough that it does its job of immersing you and making you just really into the game. Just, you're in the zone, man, when you play this game. So much fun. Love it. I'll get back with you guys with more details. We'll talk some more Outward on another day, but I think I've rambled on long enough. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope that it kind of helped you with making a decision on the game, on a purchase, etc. And thank you guys. Leave me some comments down below. Share this video so that your friends can know what kind of game you can expect, at least at the early points of Outward. Thank you very much, guys. Until next time, God bless and happy gaming.